You scan the world around you and it eats at you. The rich somehow keep multiplying their money while you scrap for leftovers. No matter how many hours you put in, you're still handcuffed to bills, repayments, and basic survival. It feels rigged, doesn't it? Unfair. But here's the brutal truth almost no one will say out loud. Money doesn't answer to fairness. Money answers to power. And power is never gifted. It's seized. That's why you stay broke. Because you still believe in waiting your turn, in being good, in hoping someone will notice your effort and reward you. The wealthy don't think like that. They don't wait. They don't hope. They design wealth. They shape people, systems, and circumstances to serve them. And if you don't understand the cold Machiavellian laws behind that game, you will always be prey, fuel for someone else's empire. What you're about to hear is not feel-good motivation. It's not work harder and save more fantasy. This is dangerous information. The kind of knowledge people whisper, not shout. The kind that makes you unreadable, untouchable, and unstoppable in the arena of money. If you master it, you will never go back to being ordinary. Most people think wealth comes from being smart, lucky, or talented. Those are comforting lies. If that were true, brilliant people wouldn't die broke, and the hardest workers wouldn't drown in credit and debt. Wealth is not raw ability. Wealth is strategy. Cold, calculated, tactical strategy. Niccolò Machiavelli once wrote that men will more easily get over the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. Translation: money cuts deeper than blood. Wealth is survival. Wealth is status. Wealth is power. And whoever controls it controls people. The first thing you need burned into your mind is this: money is not neutral. It is a weapon. In weak hands, it leaks away. In strong hands, it explodes and multiplies. And this weapon only stays with those willing to detach from childish illusions. That's where your transformation begins, by smashing your old identity. You stop thinking like a victim of circumstance. You start watching, really watching. Because the truth is, most people are blind. They are predictable. They are emotional. They don't see how they're being moved around the board in the money game. But once you step back and observe instead of react, you finally start seeing how wealth is actually built. Look at the average man. He works until his back hurts. He saves crumbs. He follows every rule. And still his life feels like a cage. His effort enriches someone else. Why? Because he believes in effort instead of leverage. He believes in fairness instead of manipulation. He believes in how things look, not in where power sits. That blindness is exactly why he stays poor. And that brings us to the first law. Turn silence into a weapon. Most people chase money with their mouths. They talk, brag, beg, justify, explain. They reek of desperation, but silence is pressure. Silence makes the other person crack first. In negotiations, deals, and opportunities, the one who can sit in silence longest bends the room. Humans hate silence. They rush to fill it with confessions, discounts, and weak points. The rich understand this. That's why they look calm when everyone else is frantic. They don't chase information. They extract it. They sit still, let others bleed details, and then they strike. Used properly, silence shifts you from prey to predator. But silence alone isn't enough. Because if your face still reveals your fear, your greed, your insecurity, you're still easy to control. That's where the next law appears. Most people wear their emotions openly. Their face, their tone, their body all broadcast panic and desire like a loud signal. Predators pick that up instantly. That's how the wealthy manipulate markets, staff, customers, even friends. They read reactions quicker than most people can process a thought. If you want to stop staying broke, you must become unreadable. Ghost-like. No one can predict your next move. When you strip away emotional giveaways and master inner stillness, you stop being a pawn on someone else's board. You become the one arranging the pieces. Think about it. A man who cannot be read cannot be forecast. A man who cannot be forecast cannot be controlled. That man is dangerous. That man is immune to trends, ads, peer pressure. He saves when others splurge, he attacks when others freeze, and he steps back when others are rushing in blind. This is how empires are built, by those who stand above the crowd, watching, waiting, and then hitting with precision. Here's what you must understand. Every time you obey impulse, fear, greed, FOMO, you leak power. And every time your power leaks, someone wealthier absorbs it. Money is always in motion. If it's flowing out of your hands unconsciously, it's boosting someone else's war chest. Which brings us to another law: predator patience. Average people are impulsive. They chase trends, jump on hype, and sprint toward every quick win. In that impatience, they become food for those who wait. The rich move slowly but decisively. Like a lion crouched in tall grass, they do not waste motion. They wait for the moment fear grips the herd, and then they pounce. And this is why they buy when everyone is panicking, why they hold when everyone is selling, why they expand when everyone else is shrinking back. Their patience is sharpened into a weapon. Learn it, and you stop burning money on emotional decisions and start catching opportunities other people throw away. But patience demands discipline, and discipline is exactly what most people refuse to build. They crave comfort. They want ease. They want the hit of pleasure from spending more than the quiet satisfaction of control. That's why the small group who master silence, unreadability, and patience rise to the top, while everyone else stays tied to a paycheck. And here's the darkest reality. Most people will never escape. They are too reactive, too emotional, too blind to play this game at a high level. They will live as prey and die as prey. But you don't have to. If you take these laws seriously, detach from illusions, arm yourself with silence, become unreadable, and embody predator patience, you stop being average. You stop being broke. You start becoming untouchable. And as we go deeper, you'll see something even more unsettling. Wealth isn't simply earned, it's taken. You've already seen the first cracks in the lie. Silence bends people. Unreadability protects you. Patience turns you from a desperate gambler into a hunter. But if you stop there, you're only half forged, because money isn't just about defending yourself. It's about turning other people into channels that feed you. This is where the real game starts. Most people think wealth is built by working hard. They imagine the rich simply grind more or work smarter. That's only the surface. Real wealth is built by positioning. By standing in a place where other people's effort, time, and decisions flow towards you without them even noticing. Look at your job. You sweat, stress, and put in hours. Yet your paycheck is a tiny slice of the value you generate. The rest climbs upward, quietly, into the pockets of your employer. Why? Because they're above you in the structure. They don't need to work more. They only need you to keep working. This is the law of leverage. Machiavelli observed that people are naturally changeable. Easy to convince, hard to keep convinced. Applied to money, it means this: loyalty, effort, and obedience are unstable. But when you build a system they must move through, their inconsistency doesn't matter. You keep getting richer while they stay trapped in cycles. Leverage is why one landlord grows rich while hundreds of tenants pay until the end of their lives. Leverage is why one focused investor grows wealthy while thousands chase hype and lose. Leverage is why one company pulls billions from millions of customers who buy repeatedly, even while complaining. Here's the cold part. Most people never consider leverage. They obsess over earning. They trade their time. They trade their body. In doing so, they trade away their life. That's why they stay broke, because they deal in the only currency that never multiplies: hours. The few who understand leverage stop trading time. They start trading systems. They design structures where time, money, and energy stream toward them. They stop acting like workers and start acting like hunters, placing traps. But even leverage can crumble if you lack control. The crowd is fickle. The masses change trends, tastes, and allegiances overnight. If you don't anchor them, you lose hold over them. That's why you need the law of narrative. Money doesn't rush toward the best product. It doesn't rush toward the hardest worker. It rushes toward the strongest story. Humans are not driven by pure logic. They're moved by belief. Whoever shapes their story shapes where their money flows. That's why religions build empires, why brands become cults, why politicians can raise millions with just speeches. They have mastered narrative, the art of carving the lens through which the masses see reality. And here's the secret. The story doesn't have to be objectively true. It only has to be believed. Once people accept your narrative, they will hand you their money, their loyalty, their energy, sometimes even their lives. Average people reject this. They cling to the idea that truth and fairness guide the world. But look around you. Lies, repeated loudly enough, become reality. Crafted appearances become accepted truth. The person who dismisses narrative as manipulation stays broke because they ignore a simple law. Money follows belief more than it follows reality. Silence, unreadability, patience, leverage, narrative. See the pattern? Every law takes human weakness and turns it into your advantage. Each step pulls you away from the herd and closer to a different class. A brotherhood of predators. But there's something even darker you have to confront. Wealth demands sacrifice, not blood, but comfort. The predator's road is lonely. You cannot indulge every urge, every distraction, every craving. That's what keeps others soft. Their addiction to comfort is their cage. The rich may look indulgent from a distance, but beneath the display is discipline. They master themselves before they master others. Machiavelli warned that a ruler sometimes must act against mercy, faith, and even basic humanity to preserve power. If you want to rise out of poverty, you must at least understand this. How to sacrifice the appearance of being good for the reality of staying in control. This is why you remain stuck. You grip comfort, you cling to fairness, you worship appearances. The rich don't. They embrace discomfort when it sharpens them. They adjust morality when it benefits them. They build appearances when it shields them. That flexibility is why they climb while others sink. But remember, every law has a shadow. Silence can slide into isolation. Unreadability can twist into paranoia. Patience can decay into paralysis. Leverage without discipline can implode. Narrative can backfire if exposed. The wealthy walk along that edge without falling. That's why they look calm. They balance ruthlessness with control. They stay one move ahead of disaster. While you sit believing success is about working more hours, they move in the dark. They pull strings. They set snares you don't notice until you're already caught. By the time most people react, it's already finished. Too late. But not for you, not if you keep going. You're already stripping away illusions. You're already becoming colder, sharper, more strategic. And once you fully accept the predator's mindset, you see it clearly. Money doesn't flow to those who deserve it. It flows to those who take it. And that taking, it is rarely loud. It is never obvious. It's quiet, calculated, ghost-like. That's where you're heading, toward your final evolution. By now you feel it. Something has shifted. The world doesn't look the same. You watch people talk, beg, shop, panic, and all you see is vulnerability. They have no idea they're being drained, harvested, and played. You do. You've stepped outside the herd. But to fully cross over, you must understand more than the first set of laws. Silence, unreadability, patience, leverage, narrative. These are the foundation stones. The real transformation comes when you sharpen all of them into weapons and actually wield them. Because wealth is not a fair game. It's not a moral debate. Wealth is war. And in war, hesitation is death. So let's cut deeper. There's a reason the poor cling to jobs while the rich build empires. It's not just leverage. It's the law of substitution. The weak always substitute effort for power. They think, if I just grind harder, I'll earn more. That thinking is a trap. Hard work by itself is a fool's currency. The wealthy substitute differently. They trade ideas for labor, influence for action, perception for reality. Picture this. One man spends the day digging a trench and gets paid his daily wage. Another man organizes 10 men to dig 10 trenches and earns 10 times as much, without touching a shovel. Who is playing the smarter game? The one who sweats or the one who substitutes strategy for sweat? Machiavelli warned rulers never to rely only on their own strength, but to use the strength of others whenever possible. Money obeys the same rule. If you always trade your own time for cash, you will always stay small. But when you learn to trade perception for value, ideas for effort, other people's energy for your advancement, money begins to flow endlessly. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The rich are not just working harder. They are making others work harder for them. But substitution alone isn't enough. You need another blade, the law of illusion. People almost never buy what something is. They buy what they believe it is. That's why a stone called a diamond can command fortunes. Why certain logos on basic fabric become luxury. Why pieces of paper, worthless on their own, represent entire economies. Money chases illusion. The masters of illusion are the ones who accumulate wealth. They're not selling raw reality. They're selling the story wrapped around it. That's why there are people who sell get-rich courses without ever having been rich themselves, and still make money. That's why entire sectors thrive on convincing people to want things they never truly needed. Illusion creates desire. Desire creates demand. Demand creates wealth. If you reject illusion because you think it's dishonest, you've already lost. Because the world doesn't pay out based on honesty. It pays out based on mastery of appearances. Machiavelli said it clearly. Everyone sees what you seem to be. Very few know what you really are. Appearances are power. Illusions are a kind of currency. Whoever controls that currency controls wealth. Now listen closely, because this next law is one of the most dangerous. The law of exploitation. People hear that word and instantly think of cruelty, injustice, evil. But stripped down, exploitation simply means this. You see unused value and you extract it before someone else does. The wealthy scan for gaps, fear, inefficiency, untapped resources, and they move first. This doesn't always mean exploiting people directly. It can mean exploiting timing, momentum, ignorance, or waste. Look at fear. When markets crash, the average person freaks out, sells at the bottom, and locks in their losses. The predator buys cheap and multiplies wealth while others are bleeding. Look at attention. Billions of hours are wasted scrolling. The predator captures that attention with content, narrative, and offers, and converts distraction into income. Exploitation isn't hatred of people. It's ruthless realism. If you don't exploit the gap, someone else will exploit you. That's why you stay broke, not because everyone else is evil, but because you lack the coldness to see opportunity inside the weaknesses of others. Even this law, though, is unstable without control. That leads to the next, the law of withholding. The weak think oversharing builds trust. They talk too much. They spill plans, limits, and feelings. In doing so, they hand away leverage. The wealthy withhold. They reveal only what is necessary, only when it serves a purpose. They master partial disclosure, giving just enough to create intrigue, desire, and dependency, but never so much that they become predictable. Think of negotiation again. The average man rushes to say his bottom line, his budget, his urgency. The predator holds back. He listens. He takes notes. He calculates. By the time he finally speaks, the other side is already boxed in. Withholding builds mystique. Mystique creates power. Power generates wealth. This is why the richest often seem distant, private, mysterious. They are not hiding because they are weak. They are hiding because exposure is vulnerability. Now let's pull it all together. Silence bends people. Unreadability protects you. Patience turns desperation into timing. Leverage converts others into your resource. Narrative steers belief. Substitution frees you from the slavery of labor. Illusion creates value from thin air. Exploitation turns waste into profit. Withholding defends your position. These are not tips, they are weapons. Cold, precise tools forged over centuries of power struggles. When you wield them, you stop being a victim of the money game. You stop merely playing the game. You become the game. And here comes the final shift. Identity. Most people are born, live, and die as prey. Emotional, predictable, bound to wages, hours, and the illusion that the world is fair. But once you step onto this path, you stop resembling them. You become an observer, a strategist, a phantom in the marketplace. Picture it. While others stumble around in confusion, you move with X-ray vision. You see their tells, their habits, their unspoken fears. Instead of joining their chaos, you step back. You wait. You only move when you already know the outcome. That's what it means to be unreadable, untouchable, unstoppable. You're no longer chasing money. You're arranging your life so that money has to chase you. And once you taste that level of power, there is no going back. Because at that point, you're no longer one of them. You've crossed into something else, something above, something untouchable. Now the real question, how do you live this, not just understand it? How do you practice these laws every day? That's where we turn next, to daily operations, to real-world moves that turn these laws into armor, into blades, into your empire. You've taken in the principles: silence, unreadability, patience, leverage, narrative, substitution, illusion, exploitation, withholding. These are no longer just fancy words, they're weapons. But a weapon you never use is just decoration. If you want to be truly untouchable, you must carry these laws into your ordinary moments like a hidden knife. Because wealth isn't only built in big events, it's built in the small choices where most people fail without noticing. That's where you separate yourself. That's where you become different. Conversations. Most people talk to feel important, to fill space, to get validation. But you understand now, words are currency, and real currency must be invested, not thrown away. When you're with someone, a friend, colleague, partner, you practice restraint. You let them talk. You let them show you who they are. You stop reacting and start studying. Every pause, every inconsistency, every emotional leak becomes data. Soon you'll notice something. People will almost beg to fill the silence you create. They'll hand you information, influence, and loyalty just to feel comfortable. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is pressure. Negotiations. Most amateurs think negotiation is about pushing their point harder. They talk nonstop, argue, try to overpower the other side. But negotiation is war disguised as polite conversation. And in war, the calm fighter beats the frantic one. When you negotiate, your unreadability is your shield. You don't visibly flinch. You don't show hunger. You don't show fear. You wait. You let the other side reveal themselves. Then, at the right moment, you exploit the opening. You swap your silence for their anxiety. You use withholding until the deal tilts your way. And when they finally realize they've given more than they intended, the agreement is already signed. Relationships. Money is not only numbers, it's social too. Influence is a type of currency. It can be stored, multiplied, weaponized. Most people destroy their influence by being too available, too emotional, too easy to read. You won't. You apply the law of withholding here too. You don't grant everyone full access to your time and mind. You stay slightly out of reach, slightly mysterious. You reveal glimpses, never the full picture. Because people instinctively value what they cannot fully grasp, this distance creates pull. People chase you, they invest in you, they respect you. This isn't cheap manipulation. This is intentional design. You're building gravity around yourself so that all forms of wealth, financial, social, intellectual, begin to orbit you. A business. This is where the Machiavellian toolkit truly shows its power. Most businesses fail because they try to sell bare reality. They lead with features, logic, hard work. But predators sell illusions. They sell meaning. They sell stories. They craft images. They manufacture desire where there was none. Look at the great empires, tech giants, luxury brands, iconic companies. Are their products always objectively worth the price? Rarely. But their narrative, their illusion, their crafted identity makes people line up, beg, and overpay. That's illusion plus narrative in motion. If you want to build serious wealth, stop only selling what something is. Start selling what it signifies. Don't just sell food. Sell identity, lifestyle, belonging. Don't just sell clothing. Sell rank, status, power. Don't just sell information. Sell transformation, a new self. Because in the end, people aren't buying the item. They're buying the story they get to tell themselves when they own it. Conflict. The weak hemorrhage energy fighting every argument. They defend themselves. They try to prove they're right. And in doing so, they drain their power. The predator doesn't engage every fight. The predator waits, chooses, and only strikes when victory is almost guaranteed. This is predator patience applied to war. When conflict shows up, you don't rush in, you observe. You let your opponent expose their weaknesses, waste their energy, reveal their strategy. Then, when they're out of breath and overextended, you move fast, precise, ruthless. That's why the rich grow during recessions. That's why they buy when others are paralyzed by fear. That's why they advance when everyone else retreats. They don't scatter their strength on petty battles. They pick wars that feed empires. And slowly, without noise or applause, you transform. You begin to notice. While others chase comfort, you choose discipline. While others spill their emotions, you stay unreadable. While others panic, you hold your ground. While others grind endlessly, you build leverage. While others cling to raw truth and get ignored, you shape perception and get paid. You are no longer one of them. You have stepped into another category entirely. This is the final evolution. Unreadable, untouchable, unstoppable, a phantom moving through the money world. You don't scream your success. You don't beg for attention. You move quietly. You build in the dark. You stack power until one day the herd looks up and realizes you vanish from their level. You've risen. Machiavelli would call this the path of a prince, ruling not through niceness or fairness, but through design, control, and inevitability. The Stoics would call it detachment, freedom from being ruled by impulse. I call it the predator mind, the mindset that bends money, power, and people toward its intention. Most will never see it. They'll stay blind, emotional, prey. But you, if you've listened this far, you've been initiated. You've stepped deeper into a hidden order, a different way of seeing. Now you have a choice. You can let this message wash over you and then step right back into your old habits. Reactive, emotional, broke. Or you can treat this as your initiation. You can start applying these laws daily. You can stop exploding every time you feel something and start calculating. You can stop working for money and start forcing money to work for you. If you're ready to go further, sharpen your thinking, master power, and become truly untouchable, then here is your command: subscribe. Not as a favor, not as a polite gesture, as the next step in your transformation. Because the deeper we go, the darker and more powerful this knowledge becomes. And once you cross that line, there is no going back. So the final question is this: are you ready to stop living as prey and start living as a predator?